Hi, you guys. Welcome back to another episode of the New Day with Natalie podcast. I am your host, Natalie Louise, and in today's episode, we are going to be talking all about why your avoidant attached partner keeps part of their life separate from you. So you might notice that your avoidant partner is setting plans with their friends or with their family, and they're not inviting you. And maybe when they do hang out with them or spend time with their family, they don't really tell you too much about their family. They don't tell you too much about their friends. It's like they almost are keeping it separate strategically. And this can make you feel kind of left out because maybe you're introducing your partner to your friends and to your family. And so it only makes sense for them to introduce you to theirs as well. But they're not. It's like they're keeping it totally separate. Maybe they might be doing the same thing with work as well, like sharing only small amounts of information about how they're making money or what they're doing at work. And that could be for a variety of reasons. But if you've noticed your partner is not sharing a lot of parts of their life and they're staying very like high level, it could be because they want to keep your relationship surface level where both of you guys don't share too much information. Or on the flip side, they might share something that's deep about themselves that's not actually deep, and it encourages you to then share and reveal something about yourself that's very deep that you wouldn't share with anyone else. And that will make you feel vulnerable. That will make you feel like they have seen a side of you that you have never showed to anyone else. And therefore, you'll feel closer to them because you're sharing, you're getting intimate, emotionally intimate, right? So then you might notice that your avoidant partner doesn't really top that. They don't really share too much more. They're not introducing you to their family or just whatever it is. We're going to talk about why that might be in this episode, okay? This episode's kind of niche, but whatever, we're going to get into it anyway. So the first reason why they will keep their life separate from their romantic partner, you, is because the avoidantly attached person is probably maintaining independence and they're trying to maintain their autonomy that they had in place before they met you. In their mind, before they met you, they could have imagined a world that they had their job, had their family, had their friends, had all their things, and then also had you. But all those things were separate so that they could choose what they wanted to do each day and how much energy they wanted to put into each. But there was no pressure. It's just like you show up when you do, and that's that. But they noticed that once they started dating you, it required more energy, more commitment, more responsibility. And that's when they started to feel like you were threatening their independence and autonomy. Because if one weekend you guys were together, and then the next weekend you're like, I want to spend time with you this weekend again, they might feel like, well, I just saw you last weekend, isn't that enough? But to you, it won't feel like enough, so it's never enough. And then to the avoidant person, it's like, well, I'm giving you more time than I ever do compared to anyone else in my life, so you should be happy with what I'm giving you. But to you, the anxious person, it could feel like it's still not enough, and you're like, what do you mean that's a lot? I saw you one time last week. So it can make you feel very insecure and all the other things, but we're focused on the avoidant in this episode, okay? They keep their lives separate because they want to feel in control. They want to keep that independence, and avoidantly attached people value independence above everything else. So that's why when you first started dating, if you came across as someone that's very independent and can figure things out on their own and doesn't need anyone else and is making their own money and doing their own thing and can fill their own schedule up, that's attractive to someone with an avoidant attachment style because they can mesh with that. It's like you guys are a great partner because they can do their own thing and you could do your own thing and then you could see each other whenever. That is like the secret sauce for what makes it work with an avoidant. But newsflash, you're not an avoidant. You don't want to be that independent. You want to be more codependent, not in an unhealthy way, but in a way that makes you feel like you're in a romantic relationship. That's why your avoidant partner's like, fine, I'll give in, I'll be with you, but I still want some level of control. And so they are holding on to all those other things in their life and keeping them separate as a way to maintain their independence. Also, it helps them to feel like they're in control of their space and their emotional needs. So when you don't share too much about your friends or your family or work or like anything else, all of your life problems, it then allows you to have enough time to sort through your problems or give yourself space when you need to think about something and negotiate something or figure out, family drama or like go see your family and just be there for them or whatever. When you're not sharing that with your partner, it makes you feel like you're in control. It makes you feel like you have the space you need to figure things out. But when your partner's in on it and they're telling telling you their opinion and they want to be right next to you when you're figuring all these things out, it can make you feel like you're stuck, you're claustrophobic. It's like, can you get away? Like, I'm trying to figure this thing out right now. I'll be back with you like next week, you know? So that's how they're experiencing it. This is what happened to me personally, but avoidantly attached people can feel like you are threatening their autonomy and their way of life, the way that they operate, the way that they do life day in and day out is one way. But when you came into the picture, you shook things up. You said, it doesn't have to be this way. We could spend time together. We could do this together. And that literally cracked their brain in half. They're like, wait, what? Because they actually kind of want to. So it's like, who am I? I'm losing myself in the relationship because I want to do things with you. I want to spend time with you. Like, who am I? What did I become? And so if it gets to a point where they lose themselves too much, that's when they break up with you because it's too scary. It's like overload of emotions, overload of romantic feelings, and then a loss of control, a loss of self, a loss of independence, a loss of so many things, okay? So that's why, again, like they're trying to control things by just keeping things separate from you. Because if you don't know about them, you can't take control of them. You can't change their mind on them. It's still theirs. If you guys have a very specific relationship issue and you want my advice, feel free to sign up for a video call coaching down below. I'll leave a link for that. The second reason why avoidantly attached people keep their life separate from you is because they fear being overwhelmed by emotional closeness. This kind of goes off of the first one I just mentioned, but when they create like a buffer zone in between you and something that's personal to them, maybe their family that knows them very well, that might have triggered them when they were younger, but they still love them. They want to spend time with them. So if you get too close to their family, then you know too much about them, your avoidant partner, which to them can make them feel vulnerable without even wanting to be vulnerable. Does that make sense? It's like if you go to their mom and you're like, okay, tell me everything that you have to tell me about your son. I want to know it all. That can feel like an invasion of privacy, invasion of space, invasion of everything, especially if the relationship is still developing and it's early, it's fresh, it's new. So that's why they fear like, okay, that's way too close. Like, I am comfortable sharing a little bit, but when you get into my world and cross the line, that's when I have lost all control and I'm really uncomfortable with this emotional closeness. So that's why I'm going to create like a guardrail in between us, like a wall in between my life and everything else. But you can have me, just like parts of me, and you could crack the shell slowly, but I'm still in control. Like, that's how they're thinking about it. And that's how they like strategically create the relationships in their life. Does that make sense? And again, it's because they don't want to be too exposed. So they are strategically choosing what they want to share with you or share about them. Does that make sense? Now, the third reason why avoidantly attached people keep their life separate from you is because they are avoiding this idea of vulnerability and dependency. The scariest thing to an avoidantly attached person is losing themselves in the relationship because they depend on you too much. If you become codependent with your partner, you don't know how to function without them. That is a terrifying thing to someone with an avoidant attachment style. They want to maintain the control they have in their life in order to feel safe. If they give you too much control, or if they lean into you too much and you let them down, that brings them back to their childhood when they tried to do that before and it didn't work out. So it's like, I already learned my lesson. I don't need to do this again. Avoidantly attached people definitely struggle with vulnerability because opening up and sharing too much about themselves can make them feel weak. And like I said, you can use those things against them in a way that can make them feel even worse about themselves, okay? So they also have this fear or this idea that if they start to become too emotional or share too much with you, then they might feel like they are being too needy, like they can't do things on their own, like they've lost themselves, like I said, and they don't know how to do things on their own. They need you in order to survive, and they don't want that. They don't want to be the needy person. They call you the needy person. That's what you're for. That's why they like to separate things, so that they can strategically decide how much they're feeding to you, how much they're sharing with you. And when they are in control of everything that you guys talk about and everything that you know about them, that makes them feel safe. That makes them feel much more secure in the relationship, okay? And I'm not saying that they'll never share anything with you. I'm just saying it happens over time, but a lot of times those separate lives, that type of dynamic will happen in a relationship early on, for sure. And then the fourth reason why avoidantly attached people keep their lives separate from their partner is because they enjoy controlling the pace of the relationship. So if they start sharing everything about their life, you could go online and start searching, like, what is this job they have? Like, who's this person they dated? Like, I want to look up all their family members. And like, who knows? Your crazy, like, stalker, anxious ass will do. But the point is, if they control what they are sharing with you, then it makes them feel like it makes them feel like they can distance themselves, they can take space, and you don't have to know exactly what they're doing. You just know that you're in a healthy, happy relationship and they'll come back and they'll be there. Meanwhile, they might be dealing with family shit. They might be dealing with a friendship breakup. They might be dealing with a problem at work. But when they come back to you, they can have this sense of peacefulness, happiness, because they enjoy being with you. They just don't want you to know everything right now because it makes them feel safe, okay? So it's almost like if you just met someone, do you feel comfortable sharing your full name, your address, like all of your, where you work, your employer name, like all this like very important and private information? No. So you might share that over time. Like you wouldn't mind like sharing where you live with your partner so that they can come over and you can watch a movie together. But you wouldn't do that right away. So that's kind of what the avoidant person is doing. They're controlling the situation and funneling you the information slowly so that they feel in control and safe. Okay. Also, they're trying to see, like, do they feel safe with you? That is it for this episode, you guys. Thank you for watching. I wrote a book, How to Get Over Your Avoidant Ex and Become Securely Attached. I'll leave that link down below as well. That's it for this one, you guys. It was a fast one, but I hope you enjoyed it. And I'll see you next week. Bye.